Good morning, boys and girls. We're going to read chapter 5 of Bug Brother. The last chapter we left off with, he was trying to catch his brother Harry, who he had turned magically into a bluebottle, which is an annoying bug. So chapter 5 is called Where's Harry? I thought Rima's idea was excellent too. We quickly set about carrying it out. Aunt Nora was still gabbling away on the phone, so she didn't see me creep into the kitchen and bring out a new jar of strawberry jam and 2 large spoons. Harry must be starving by now, said Rima. And bluebottles like jam more than anything. He won't be able to resist this. We began spreading it over the step. We'll need to put a lot down, said Rima, so that he can smell it. It didn't take long for us to practically empty the whole jar. Soon we had our first visitor, a wasp. Clear off, cried Rima. This isn't for you. But the wasp seemed hypnotized by the jam and wouldn't go away. All right, help yourself, I hissed to the wasp. Just don't tell your friends about the free food. I stood and waited behind the door with my net, ready for Rima's signal. Any signs of Harry? I whispered. No, but this wasp is still here, and we've got a couple of other flies, too. Then, all at once, Rima let out a cry and started running. I leaped out of my hiding space. What's happened? The wasp tried to sting me, she said. He's definitely not getting any more jam now. Moments later, Rima whispered, I see him. There they are. Setting up the trap for Harry. I darted forward and before the bluebottle knew what was happening, I'd caught him. Gotcha! I cried, racing upstairs with him. I sprang into my bedroom, slamming the door behind me. I checked that all my windows were shut too. Now, Harry, I need to explain something to you. I want to help you, but I can't if you keep flying off. So for your own safety, I'm going to keep you in here and try to turn you back to normal, all right? The bluebottle didn't answer. It was flying around the room, but silently. You're not sulking, are you? Buzz once so I know you're still talking to me. But the bluebottle refused to buzz at all. I squinted at him. You are Harry, aren't you? He seemed smaller than Harry and much duller in color. And he didn't fly around me or make any noise. He just hid behind the curtains. I groaned with frustration. I felt a bit silly having spent the last few minutes chatting to a bluebottle. Rima was waiting for me back out in the yard. Every wasp and fly in the area was now feasting on the jam. How's Harry? She asked. I shook my head. It's not him. How do you know? I know my own brother. I gave a deep sigh. He could be miles away by now. Just then, Aunt Nora appeared. She gazed in horror at all the jam on the step. Whatever have you been doing, Jamie? It was an experiment, Aunt Nora, I mumbled. We wanted to see which insects like jam. It's been really interesting, added Rima. But what a mess you've made, cried my aunt. And you've attracted such horrible creatures. We've got to clean it up. We helped Aunt Nora wash down the step. Suddenly she asked, and where's Harry? Oh, he's around, I replied. I think he's hiding again. He's been very naughty today, said Aunt Nora. Just wait until I see him. She looked around to try and spot him. Such a beautiful backyard, she continued. All it lacks are a few garden gnomes. I think they bring such character to a yard. Personally, I've always thought garden gnomes were a bit silly. They always have such daft expressions on their faces. But I was polite and agreed with her. Well, she went on, your mother promised I could help myself to a few cuttings, so I'll do that now. You can run along and play, but don't make any more mess. And tell Harry I want to see him, will you? We will, I promised. Back inside, I said, what are we going to do now? Rima frowned. I'm not sure. I don't know why my cape can turn Harry into a bluebottle, but not back again. Maybe the cape only grants one wish a day, asked Rima. Or it could just be a one-wish cape, I said gloomily. Or perhaps, said Rima softly, you just don't want Harry back enough. I looked up sharply. What do you mean? Well, you're always moaning about him. Yeah, I agreed. And he is totally annoying, but yes, said Rima. Well, he's still my brother, and I do want him back. I whispered those last words as if I were admitting a terrible secret. And then I looked at my watch. It was 4 o'clock. About now, he'd be getting ready to watch the last episode of Thief in Time. He hasn't missed an episode. He sits right up close to the screen when it's on. I stopped. I looked at Rima. We both had the same idea at the same time. I jumped up and switched the television on and turned up the volume as loud as I could while Rima rushed around opening every window. The theme music of Thief in Time boomed out of the TV. Aunt Nora was still in the backyard, and luckily her hearing wasn't very good anyway. I'm sure if he hears that music, he'll just fly in, I said. He's desperate to know what happens at the end. Fingers crossed, said Rima. I went into the kitchen and found an empty jar jam. I explained. When we catch him, I'll keep him in here. Then at least I'll know he's safe. I'll just make some air holes in the lid. I just finished when I heard a familiar buzzing noise. A bluebottle started circling around the room, and then it settled on the television screen. That's my brother, all right. I gave a massive sigh of relief. Rima looked really pleased, too. Go talk to him, she hissed. Go on, make up. I edged toward the bluebottle, which was sitting completely still right in the middle of the television screen. I crouched down. Sorry to interrupt your favorite show, but I need to put you inside this jam jar. There's lots of space and 6 air holes. At once, the bluebottle began whirling around and around my head, making more noise than a swarm of angry bees. I don't think he likes the idea, began Rima. I looked up at Harry. All right, just stop doing that, will you? There's no point in shouting at him, said Rima. There's the Thief in Time, the jam jar, and the bluebottle flying in. They want to try to capture Harry. He'll only fly away again. I took a deep breath. Harry, calm down. You needn't go into the jam jar if you don't want to. What would you like to do? He began flying around the TV screen. Oh, look, cried Rima. He wants to watch his favorite show in peace. You can't stop him doing that. She turned to the bluebottle. You go on. Enjoy your TV show. You'll be perfectly safe, I promise. The bluebottle scuttled across the screen a few times before settling himself down again. See, he's fine now, whispered Rima. After the show had finished, I leaned forward and spoke to the bluebottle. I want to help you, Harry. Immediately, his wings started to vibrate. I turned to Rima. Why won't he trust me? Well, you did turn him into a bluebottle, replied Rima, so you can't blame him for being a bit suspicious. I suppose so. And then I whispered, Rima, what am I going to do if I can't turn him back? The bluebottle's wings were vibrating very fast now. You're upsetting him again, whispered Rima. She went over to Harry. Now, are you hungry? He made a loud buzzing sound. Well, there's still a little jam left, so follow me. Harry didn't need any more prompting. He flew off to the kitchen with Rima. I was about to follow them when I had an idea. I ran upstairs to the bathroom. Then I flicked some water onto my cape. You see, I just remembered something. When I turned Harry into a bluebottle, the cape had been a bit wet. Afterward, I dried it with the hairdryer. Was that why my wishes weren't coming true anymore? Did the 7 on my cape need to be wet before it could do any magic? I was certain that was the solution. Suddenly, I heard Rima scream, Jamie, come quickly! Now take a moment to predict what you think is going to happen in Chapter 6. Have a great day, boys and girls.